The new government is promised. We've been studying in the Old Testament book of Isaiah, and we've learned that Isaiah and his wife, they have a son. And the Lord named him. What did the Lord name him? Well, it's a very long name. It's Maher-shalal-hash-baz. That's the baby's name. And I went to the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. Then the Lord said to me, call his name Maher-shalal-hash-baz. The name? It means devastation. For before the boy knows how to cry, my father or my mother, the wealth of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria will be carried away before the king of Assyria. In that verse, the word prophetess, well, who are they talking about? Well, that's Isaiah's wife. Assyria. Assyria went and devastated Judah with water, devastated it, all except for one town, and that was Jerusalem left alive. Therefore, behold, the Lord is bringing up against them, the people of Judah, the waters of the river, mighty and many, the king of Assyria and all his glory, and it will rise over its channels and go over all its banks, and it will sweep on into Judah. It will overflow and pass on, reaching even to the neck, and its outspread wings will fill the breadth of your land, O Immanuel. That verse, the part that says, O Immanuel, what's that mean? Jesus? Well, in Isaiah chapter 7, yes, it was talking about the future birth of Jesus, Immanuel, it was. But in Isaiah chapter 8, it's different. Here, Isaiah is talking using the name Immanuel, and what he's meaning is the people of Judah. God cherishes these people. God was using Assyria to go and devastate Judah. But now understand, we're talking about outside the city of Jerusalem. All around it was devastated. Now, why did God do that? Why was he devastating it? Well, it's because of the sin that they did. And this was during 8th century BC, remember. But God was still with the faithful remnant who lived in Jerusalem. No matter what the enemies did, no matter how strong they were, the plans they made, the armor that they had, getting together, making discussions of what to do, how to go against Jerusalem. No matter, they failed. Why? Because, wow, God was so gracious that he was with the people of Jerusalem. Be broken, you peoples, and be shattered. Give ear, all you far countries. Strap on your armor and be shattered. Strap on your armor and be shattered. Take counsel together, but it will come to nothing. Speak a word, but it will not stand, for God is with us. Putting that aside, in the future, a better Immanuel will be needed. A better God with us, the only one who can destroy all evil, all, completely destroyed once and for all. The reason the Son of God appeared, it was to destroy the works of the devil. The Old Testament believers, they had hope, and it continued far beyond Assyria destroying Judah, far beyond. In the former time, God brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time he has made glorious the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. In the Old Testament northern part of Israel, now not the southern part, we're talking about the northern part, they were always the first ones, the first part to be invaded by their enemies, and they suffered greatly there. And there was many people that lived there from various nations. There was the Hebrews, the Hittites, and many others, a long list of different people that represented different nations. When Assyria came and invaded them, they bragged that they had won, and they put yokes on the necks of the people there. Later, the people of Judah, wow, they heard the good news from Isaiah when Isaiah announced, what was it? He announced that God had broken the yokes of the people. The people were made free. God had broken the rod of Assyria. And the people of the nation, they multiplied. You have multiplied the nation, you have increased its joy. They rejoice before you as with joy at the harvest, as they are glad when they divide the spoil. For the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, you have broken as on the day of Midian. Now, what was the picture of the future for God's people? What was the hope for the people? What was Jesus Christ himself, our Creator, who would come to earth as a man, the Almighty God. He himself, the author, the supreme above all things, everything in the world, past, present, and future. He would reveal himself as king above all nations, and all people would look to him. Wow, he would destroy all evil. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. God exists. He exists in three persons. Jesus is the second person of the Trinity. And that person, Jesus Christ, came to earth in the flesh. And that's why he is called the Son of Man. He is 100% God and 100% man. Now let's apply this to our Christian life. In recent verses, 1 John 3:8, Isaiah 9:6, and John 13, these verses point to the Son of David, and that was prophesied in the Old Testament. It also points to the Son of God. You'll notice that is in the New Testament. Today, we tend to put our trust in our nation's leaders. For example, governors or presidents. And in Isaiah 9:6, it says that we owe allegiance, full support to Jesus alone, with no questions. And that's because we know him. Of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end, on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and with righteousness, from this time forth and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. We serve the King above all kings. We see problems, we see evil, we see sinning. But don't forget that Jesus Christ himself, he is the exalted King, and he will take care of all these problems. Christ is our greatest hope. Many Christians out there, they talk about problems, like we're atheists. They talk like that Almighty God, like he's not even there. They worry too much about things, like the government going to take control and oppress us, or maybe there's going to be a chip inserted inside us, like the 666 thing. Or the church now, it's dwindling so small. And young people, they hate to go to church. Again, we worry too much about things, like Jesus, the King, is not even there, sovereign, in control over all things that happen. In other countries like India and Africa, right now the gospel is spreading those places and around the world, and we should thank the Lord for this, that he is still the Almighty God in control, doing these work, accomplishing these things across the world. He is doing beautifully. All the work that God has done from Adam and Eve to the new heaven and earth, even to our mansion that is already set for us up in heaven. Wow, the things that he has done from before eternity and into the future, it's enormous. It's this enormity like the ocean. His work is so vast. The things that we worry about that we should not suffering, it's like a little drop of water, our suffering. It's like nothing compared to the vastness, the greatness of the hope that we have in him, the joy that we have. Things that we worry about? No. So what are we to do? Continue faithfully to serve him. Coram Deo.